Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the MI Podcast. If you're new to the MI podcast that reviews everything marketing and media. So, if you are marketing or a media professional, please go to our channel Modern Intelligence on YouTube to get all our content. Um, I try to cover topics, obviously, which are not just restricted to that, like they are also mainstream when we are talking about marketing. Everything we consume as consumers, also we know so much about in terms of the marketing channels that are there. So my effort is basically that you reach out, like content is to also a general audience, so that they also get to know more about marketing. Today I feel everyone, I would say, is a marketing profession, because we try to have our Instagram and we distribute things, and we like to do our own personal branding within that. Awesome. So today's topic is interesting if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, especially. So, um, my experience has been as a, you can say, marketer over the quite a few years, is the importance of marketing I'm seeing in startup businesses is kind of increasing. I mean, day by day, you're seeing all the different channels out there, and how we have to kind of utilize them. So there has to be a good amount of knowledge to even be competitive within the market, right? So we'll kind of deep dive into that, like what is the role of marketing even before you ideate your product and you've created, like you are within, you enter the market basically. So we'll kind of cover a little bit of that, and also some other interesting aspects of it, where you get an idea of like a strategy towards a go to market strategy. Awesome. So I'll just bring on my guest today. We have Manjula with you, with a growth strategist. Hi Manjula, how are you?
Hi. Hi, I'm fine, thank you. Thank you, Nikhil, for
Awesome.
having me here.
Thank you so much, Manjula, for taking out your valuable time. So Manjula, where are you joining us from?
From Pune, Maharashtra.
That's really awesome. So, a little bit to the audience, Manjula, about yourself, we'll try to cover. So, initially, just like where are you from, and your in terms of your education, and little bit about your your work experience, that is.
So I am a Dogra. I'm from JNK, and coming from army background, I actually grew up in Bangalore because dad got transferred to Bangalore. My schooling has been in Army School Bangalore, and then my college in Sheshadripuram College in Bangalore. I started working in Bangalore in the media industry first. Worked with large advertising agencies, and then I moved into the IT sector, and started working in the IT sector from Bangalore. But then IT took me to many places. I went to Gurgaon with another IT company, and then from there I came to Hyderabad with another IT company, and from there I came to Pune with another IT company. So I think, and also, a short period I have also worked in Mumbai, and I've also worked in Calcutta. So I kind of say that, I have covered almost all the metros and the mini metros in India professionally. Yeah.
That's
That
right. That's right. Manjula, a little bit about um, your experience. Obviously, we'll not go in detail of that. Just your transition in your career in terms of from the job, and then the kind of work you had with your own venture.
Mhm. So I had a passion towards marketing, towards advertising, towards creative field. So my passion actually is what has become my purpose. Otherwise, I'm actually a pharmacist by qualification. But because of the passion of advertising, I moved into the advertising sector and started off working there. And from there, I learned a lot on the job, and eventually I realized that I'm the best profession for me, which really makes me feel very happy by the end of the day, is to take on marketing and corporate communication. So I trained myself on the skills of marketing, corporate communication while I was with these large media houses. And eventually I moved into the IT sector in this particular field itself. So I was part of the Marcom, uh, and then I moved up to becoming the head of India marketing, and then global marketing for another organization, and then heading APAC marketing for my last company, last corporate company that I worked for. Um, by then, I had completed close to 22 years of corporate experience. And in 2015, when India was going through a revolution of startup culture, and entrepreneurship, I decided that I want to now start my own venture and help those businesses out who cannot afford experienced marketeers on board, them on full-time job. So I would work with them as an outsourced chief marketing officer and help them build their businesses, help them with their growth strategy. Most of these businesses uh, know that the backbone of any business is marketing, sales enablement, and effective communication. However, other than, say, one founder knowing how to do marketing, they would not really invest in a huge marketing team because budgets are a constraint and getting experienced marketeers is an expensive affair. So for me, working as an outsourced CMO with multiple companies, providing them very, very strategic time and providing them with the strategy building, and then enabling a team, whether it is their in-house team or whether we outsource it to a small agency, getting the work done was something that I put down as a plan of action. And since 2015 to now, which is almost 10 years because 2025, I must have mentored close to 10,000 founders and co-founders and CEOs and entrepreneurs, being part of a lot of events like being part of the incubation centers like Atal Incubation Center, the Bhau Institute of College of Engineering Pune, a lot of college pre-incubation centers, which campuses today have. Some of them are really big and doing really good work. A lot of communities like the Thai communities, the Maratha Chamber of Commerce, the NASCOM platforms. I've been everywhere, as a startup mentor. Uh, that has helped me reach out to as many founders, and then it's helped me reach out to them and tell them that here, what exactly and how exactly I do my operations as a outsourced CMO. So it's been good since then.
That's right. One interesting thing which I kind of think about, like when we look at startups and the when you talk everywhere, it's like AI startups are there, and that is what the conversation is. Um, what do you feel in terms of like what is the role of AI when you say it would definitely make your platform better? Like say you have a SaaS product, or it is, or you have like aggregation service, like many people get into that kind of business. How is AI, apart from the operations bit of it, which will get more efficient, what is the role you would say specific of AI in terms of in these kind of companies? Like you look at SaaS or you have these aggregator platforms, what would be the kind of way in which AI will optimize their business or marketing?
Yeah. So, firstly, AI is actually a given by marketing itself. I mean, come on, let's believe in it. Let's, be very confident about it that in the last 2 decades, or a little bit more than that, it was the marketeers who put a lot of data up there for you to create artificial intelligence. So, your AI is driven by RI, which is real intelligence. So, there was a real intelligence effort that was made, and, you remember that phase when the world suddenly woke up one day and we were telling each other, do you blog? Do you blog? Do you blog? And suddenly, blogger was a big terminology for us, right? And
Yeah.
suddenly we all were like, oh yeah, I mean, ये blog होता क्या है? What is this blog? Everybody is talking about blogging, right? So ये हम ही लोगों ने तो introduce किया है. Through blogs, through creative writing, we got our business stories out there, right, on the digital platforms. Today, if AI can give you an article, or AI can give you any content that you ask AI to generate for you, say ChatGPT to generate for you, it actually comes from something that was real intelligence at some point of time, right? So artificial intelligence is backed by real intelligence. And actually, marketeers are the ones who did it. I proudly say that we were the ones who did it, because we were multiplying the footprint of our clients, of our businesses that we were supporting on the digital platform through creative writing. And that's where, a lot of content, a lot of data is available for artificial intelligence today to give you answers for anything that you can ask it for, right? So for me, it has come out of marketing. AI has come out of marketing. So today, for us to leverage AI is really good. We must leverage AI, but today also we must leverage AI with real intelligence. So what kind of prompts are you giving? Not just saying generate an article of this and that. You need to have your personal use, your personal thoughts also there. Suppose you are writing a thought leadership article, you put in your thoughts also there, and then say that now generate with deep research. So then, based on what
That's
you
right.
say,
Your
yeah,
lived experiences, like in terms of your content, which I've also covered in this podcast, where you'll get everything through the AI. You can get your script, you can get a video, edit everything.
yeah,
But it's your perspective, unique perspective, and your lived experience, which you can add that to your script of your whatever content you create. But if that, it's very like soulless, like, and it is not going to connect with the audience.
yeah. That's why I said AI should be powered by RI. you know so you can 100% use AI, but try to power it with real intelligence that you have, and then you see how wonderful that thing will work. Even in terms of designs, even in terms of, a lot of people make websites out of AI tools, and a lot of people are creating designs out of AI tools. Somewhere down the line, there is a data of designs that has been there. There is some creativity that is already been holding in the digital platforms, through which it kind of gives you a creative design that comes out from there, right? So it is not something absolutely new. कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ हम लोग तो कितने advertisements किए हैं. I mean, I come from Ogilvy and Mather, and we were like leaders in doing so much advertisement. I think we were the first ones to even come out with a digital arm when digital had just got started off. Still, people were investing in billboards and, real advertisements, and digital was a very small business at that point of time. And we didn't know how big that business would become, but we still had started off with a digital arm. So, definitely AI is powered by real intelligence, and we are the people. Marketeers are the people who have introduced AI. You know, I know there can be a big debate with technology people and marketing people together,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, somewhere creativity has played a big role in this.
That's right. When we uh, like Manjula, when you look at AI startups per se, right? Like we say, we have an AI startup. That is it like purely these are tech companies, and then they are giving services which are like an add-on for these already big established companies, like I was mentioning, SaaS product companies or the food aggregator. Uh, these are the like companies which going forward will be, like say the leaders or the next unicorn. What is your feeling in that space when you look at these? And because everybody's like running towards that and trying to create an AI startup.
I think it will do well if the companies really have a good strategy in place, and what are they trying to sell through AI. Definitely, every business, if you see, every entrepreneur business is based on a problem that was identified. And today with AI startups, if you can identify some problem or some process that is very difficult today. It's taking more time for you to do that particular process. And if a AI company can come in and make the process easy for you, and it's less time consuming and it's easy to adapt, and it it can operate easily, then that is a very good entrepreneur solution, right? So our AI is definitely bringing a disruption in the market, because a lot of difficult process that we were traditionally doing are going to become easier, smoother for you. Now let's look at it. When IT also came about 30 years back, or 35, 40 years back, what was IT outsourcing all about? It was a process within a company. For example, let me give you an example. General Motors, okay, in US, and they had certain things that were manually handled in terms of, say, the stock taking of parts of a car, or, different dealership management of different dealership, their sales, or day-to-day sales, their data coming at real time, how many orders are being picked up at real time, and ensuring that much manufacturing of cars can go in. And then slowly, when these companies started becoming bigger and started reaching out globally to the global market, there was a certain speed that was expected for them in different parts of their organization, right? From manufacturing to finances to operations to supply chain management, a lot of things, right? When you grow big, a lot of things also need to be put in place. That's where our IT outsourcing boom also started off, right? Where we said that, okay, some part of your operations, you don't have to manually do it. We will ensure that we will put certain processes in place, and that will reduce the time, and that will also reduce the expenses that you will have on actually managing manually versus something that will be managed through a process. So, IT outsourcing also started like that. That time it was also a disruptor, like how AI today has become a disruptor, right, in the industry. That time we also heard a lot about people boycotting technology and saying technology is here to take away our jobs, especially in the North American region. A lot of traditional people who were doing traditional desk job and traditional management of registers and manually writing a lot of data felt threatened by technology, right? They felt threatened by IT outsourcing at that point of time. And they thought that, something like that can't come and take away our jobs. But eventually, over the period, it did happen. Either they had to learn technology, they also had to become IT professionals, or somewhere they had to accept the fact that, yes, IT outsourcing is what we need to do if we want to scale and grow faster, right? Today with AI also, we are also standing on the same platform. Today, AI has become even more faster than what IT used to do. Imagine IT got speed, and AI is now getting you super speed, you know?
Yeah.
So it is a process. It's a process that is taking more time. AI can reduce that process. A simple example is Canva. You know, I know Canva has few features of AI, but before even AI came in, launching something like Canva, where there was a lot of dependency on manual designers, people who could actually go into different tools, take subscription of those tools, then get trained people who knew how to use those tools, and then they would sit and design your brochures or your advertising designs, whatever designs needed. Canva made life easy. Today everyone can do it. I do it in few seconds. Some idea comes to my mind, I don't have to wait to give it to my designer. I just sit and I just do it, and I launch it immediately on my LinkedIn, right? So Canva got that speed. Now Canva, when they enable that with AI, then imagine even that speed becomes even more super speed, right? So I believe that AI has come here to create a big impact, and it is very traditional. When something new comes in, there will be a lot of debate around it, but always whenever something new has come in, it has come in to improve what difficulty we are following in a certain process.
That's right. Yeah, I think we have to take it positively with all the other changes that happen, where you adapt to it and you learn more about it. And I think with AI in what is happening it with different people handling different functions, or you outsource certain things, they are coming back, like the technical aspect is not so much in terms of the focal point, the what impact it has on your business. Like for example, if you took a graphic designer, like so many things like we mentioned in Canva, we can design ourselves. So the graphic designer is basically competitive advantages. He's making something which as having more impact, like whether it is your YouTube thumbnail, which will get you more clicks, or like your advertisement also, which will get you like traction onto your website. So the people have to think the whole business. They can't be happy like just I'm doing a great design I created. The whole business, they have to kind of understand the TG, everything in detail, so that they can give that value to that business. So I think you get better at like your job in terms of the final endpoint of it.
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Manjula, we'll kind of now discuss the something in the main topic, that which was about the businesses. So, like I would say, um, in today's marketing, where when you look at a product like as a startup, we are seeing that even before going to the market, you have to look at the market viability, which is a part of market, right? Like one thing is like the market research that we do. So, um, I would say, like, how do you, as a founder, like, say you don't have a marketing background, how do you, conduct that market viability test of your product or service?
So, firstly, we have to understand that if anyone got together, say a founder, co-founder, a bunch of friends got together to start something, that means they actually definitely did some research at that point of time when they were starting off something. Research is uh, problem identification, that they saw that there is a gap in the market and we need to find a solution to bridging that gap. There is a problem we are seeing, we need to find a solution for that, and that solution is going to make us earn money. Okay. So that I'm sure it was the first phase when any founders, co-founders, or a bunch of friends came together to build a business. They already did that research. That means
But then
we
in Mandula, in terms of, there is also some kind of proper process in that. Like you could, when you do a research, like sometimes it is mostly, like not well structured and is more based on your feeling about, about a product or service viability, and then you make assumptions. So, um, where do you feel like they can go in a right direction in that, like the proper process of conducting some kind of market viability research?
Yeah, so research plays a very, very big role, and it's very easy to do research today if you have the patience to do it. And I think every business, when they start off anything, when they come up with an idea and they want to really launch that idea, research is the first thing they should do. How can they do that research? Is either by engaging with interns coming from management schools, and then provide them that project and give them a size of market that you want to conduct research with. Based on the problem that you have identified, you can tell them that go into the market and here is a questionnaire, get it filled, and then do the analysis, come out with the the data that are being captured, and then you see whether your product has really significant good market if it gets launched, because the research comes from real people, and the real people will give you real feedback. Suppose they are not really happy about certain things, certain process, that's a real capture, of data that is coming to you. So now when you build anything which is research based, then you are building a foolproof business idea, because the confidence is there that yes, market needs something like this, because there are a lot of people who have told us that if a product that can solve this particular problem for them, then they are ready to buy it. That means somewhere you're already sure that there is a market that is available for you, right? So research is the most important thing. Most of the big companies also have research arms, research and R&D. research and development arms are there, whether it is Intel, whether it is HP, even companies like Infosys, Wipro, even if they are in the services space, they are also having research arms, because you need to find out which are the services that we want to target for the next new section of business that we want to target. So R&D is the best thing to do, and for us in India it is very easy for us to do, because it has become mandatory for management students to have internship in their final years. That means there are fresh mind youth available for you to who can actually work on your project and create research oriented data for you for whatever different things that you want to identify from the market.
But Manjula, like, can a normal, if you're talking about these management students, like a normal students also, like when you give it out as a project to them, which will help you maybe in doing surveys or something, can they also, you train them and they can go out and help you in this particular market research?
Of course, I have noticed, at least in Pune city, I've noticed a lot of students you will find during the weekdays in busy places like even shopping malls. And they will be very proudly carrying their badges. They will be in their uniforms and they will say that, we are from so and so college and we are doing a research. We are trying to identify how bigger this particular problem is. So if you have like 5 to 10 minutes, if you could just I have few questions to ask you, and if you could give me your feedback, it will really help us out. I think we also entertain them, because one is they are the next generation standing in front of us, right? And they are from college. That means it is a college activity that they are doing. And I think if people are ignoring them, they should not ignore them, because they are going to be building the next technology or the next disruption in the industry for us. So surveys, a lot of surveys happen in Pune. I have noticed that a lot of colleges engage. Pune is also very rich with startup culture. So I think I'm seeing a lot of that in Pune. I may not know how it is in the other part of India, but I have seen that startups in India, in Pune, are leveraging a lot of colleges, and this is the Oxford of the East. So a lot of colleges, campuses are also in Pune. So a lot of students are involved in research. I think the internship phase of students is typically used for research. Even if they are being hired by a large company, they are also leveraging them more on the research side than on the actual delivery side. So it is very easy. You need to use them effectively. You need to guide them, mentor them effectively, and create a process, what they need to do, so that they can follow the process and deliver properly to you.
That's right. Yeah, I've also noticed this where it's you can approach the student. Obviously, you present it in a way where there is some, it's not a very monotonous work. Also, it is something designed in a way which will help them also learn. Right? So
Yeah.
because I have done a lot of internships, growing up and all, wherein they used to just give us the data entries and that kind of thing. They like if you design it in such a way and you're able to kind of convince them, that's a very good resource that you can use in terms of your surveys, in terms of you go about your market viability of it. So Manjula, in terms of, let's say, apart from the survey aspect of it, are there other things you use, like where you've done it, worked on it on live projects, where you look at ki this thing will be viable? Like you also have to see the future where it is going, and then whether this thing will fit in. Like, are there other practices you also use?
Yeah. So, just to add to what you said about, you also working as an intern, and sometimes in your time, there was no clarity. I think that to some extent, academia has bridged the gap
Hmm.
with the industry. Today, there is a mandatory subject called entrepreneurship being taught to engineering management students, right from their second year. So I think the curiosity about businesses, the curiosity of what are the challenges a business can have, or the curiosity of how a business can look at different verticals to expand, is already being put in the minds of the youth.
Hmm.
then based on that, when you give them an assignment to go out and do a survey, and also when the companies come into the campus to give them internship, they also do a deep dive session around around their organization, around their culture, around the kind of customers this particular company is looking out for, what are the kind of problems this company's solutions are trying to resolve in the society. That kind of also creates a curiosity for the students to be part of that particular internship. I know in our times, sometimes we were also forced into doing door to door selling. हम बोलते थे सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग में हो तो जाओ डोर टू डोर सोप बेच कर आओ, यू नो, वो हमारा इंटर्नशिप होता था, where the company was depending on the revenue that we would generate as students, by doing that internship for them. Today the times have changed. Today students are used really well for R&D purpose. Today the companies are leveraging students very, very effectively because they are already created that hype in their mindset, from the second year onwards, and the internship typically happens in the third year or the fourth year. By then the student's mind has matured and they have learned good enough about the particular industry. And if you have created a session and gone into those gone into those campuses to hire, you have also created a curiosity about your own organization with them. So now the outcome of that particular research is not going to be just I'm giving it back to the society by just giving some work to interns, but actually you will see impact coming out of what these interns are putting in to that. So that is definitely a different change. Now coming to your other question, which is that when founders, co-founders build businesses, and how do they look at marketing? Marketing is a backbone of any business. I mean, whether you whether you create a marketing function within your organization from day one or not, but we all know the reality. The truth is that marketing is the backbone on any business. Let's look at Shark Tank, whether it is a global Shark Tank or whether it's the Indian Shark Tank. People there with few years of work, a few years of their business experience, are standing over there asking sharks to give them funding for what? I want to scale to more cities. Now I want to, because in one city I've made a mark and I think I can make a big difference if I go all India or I go global. Or I'm going global, but I need to reach out to more market. Now, what does this mean? What is the budget going to be utilized for? The funding budget that they are going to get, what exactly is it going to be utilized for? It's going to be utilized for marketing, right? Because when you're looking at new markets, you need the funds also to spend in creating an excitement in those new markets for you. So that means we again come back to marketing playing a big role, the function of marketing playing a big role. So when companies are built, when people are building companies, sometimes co-founder has marketing expertise, so they say, okay, I will manage to do marketing. But when you reach a certain mark, say you're just about to cross 1 CR revenue, okay, that is the time you should actually now start structuring your marketing function within your company. Because that 1 CR revenue, which took you about 5 years to get, that 1 CR can become 10 CR in, say, less than 2 years, if you have the right marketing team backing you. Now, marketing teams are also coming with different roles and responsibilities, right? Because a CMO organization is like a 360 degree of company operations that they handle, So you have the branding marketing. Yes, there needs to be an identity. There needs to be a logo. There needs to be a culture in our organization. There needs to be an identity that people can relate to, the colors they can relate to. Everything plays a big role, which is the branding part of marketing. Then obviously the visibility part of marketing is when you're consistently going into the market with showcasing yourself over and over into the public domain, which is obviously the corporate communication through media, your advertisements, your visibility through, whatever collaterals that you're using, whether you're in the digital marketing, you're using the Google ads or the Meta ads, whatever, social media, everything. And then obviously comes a big other avenue that is called sales enablement marketing. That means, what is this sales guy going to take as a collateral, which makes his entry much more easier to penetrate into a prospect customer's area? How can he get his foot in without putting a lot of effort, without wasting a lot of time? That is also something that marketing does. So when it becomes easier for a sales guy not to just go and pitch their credential presentation, but actually in the first meeting talk about the problems that particular customer has and how our product can help you sort out your problem and increase your revenue, that meeting should be the first meeting, rather than he going and talking about who we are, where we are, who are our founders, what have they done. That whole experience of sales enablement, which a sales guy does in his first meeting, second meeting, should be much more high level than just a credential meeting. That gap is what marketing collaterals can fit in. So if a prospect customer has seen enough of you in media, then he can relate, and I think giving appointment also becomes much more easier for him. And when the sales guy reaches out, there's a recall of the brand already, and he can give appointment very soon. That case, here are my problems. I've heard of you guys that you have this particular SaaS product that can enable this, and I'm looking out for something like this. So why don't you give me a proposal? Let's schedule a meeting. So then the meeting there is not just hi, hello, हमारे founders कौन है, क्या है. It's more deeper into actually providing them the solution of the problem that these people are sitting with. That means it is scaled down a lot of time. There is no time wastage for the customer to decide. There is no time wastage for the sales guy to actually close a deal. So that is what sales enablement marketing also does. So I think startups should be educated, founders, co-founders should be educated that marketing, when we all know, we all are aware of it, that marketing is the backbone of any business. Why are we giving marketing the last priority? And we are front end sales, we are saying हम पहले sales engine खड़ा करेंगे, marketing हम बाद में लाएंगे. जब हम थोड़े बड़े बन जाएंगे ना, तब हम marketing लेकर आएंगे. अरे वो बड़े बनने के लिए marketing को आज लेकर आओ. Marketing आपको यहाँ से यहाँ ले जाएगा, in a short period of time. So that is what I have seen as a startup mentor, especially focusing on marketing and corporate communication as an effective tool for startups. I have seen that gap, which startups really need to be engaged. Typically, founders say that, my co-founder, he has some experience of marketing, so we are not looking at marketing. He does his bit. What is he doing? He's just ensuring monthly एक तुम article डाल रहे हो LinkedIn पे, आप थोड़े से ads run कर दे रहे हो, आप अपना Google ranking up कर रहे हो. Come on, let's go beyond that. Build a go-to-market Marcom strategy for yourself first. A 360-degree go-to-market Marcom strategy needs to be built for you, which not only has only your marketing function, it has your leadership there, it has your sales there, and it also has your corporate communication stakeholders there, even to the extent your investors are also sitting there. And then you build a strategy, and then you implement that strategy for the rest of the year. Then it's not just one post happening. जब भी उसको टाइम मिला, co-founder को जब टाइम मिलता है, वो एक आर्टिकल कर देता है और उसके ऊपर 100 लाइक्स आ जाते हैं. Did those likes get converted into revenue? 100 likes to mere friends, families, my, people from army school, they all are very proud of where I have come today. वो तो ऐसे ही दे देते हैं, right? क्या वो मुझे धंधा देंगे? That is most important. Yeah.
That's right. Like you mentioned, interesting about the likes. I mean, whenever founder posts, people are also engaging that in the hope of getting a job or something. That's what happens on LinkedIn. Like they want you visible. I mean, that has no impact on the right TG for your, as a company, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you look at some of their LinkedIns and you ask them that, what kind of connections you have on your LinkedIn, they say we have what, 5,000, 10,000 connections on LinkedIn. If you have 5,000, 10,000 connections, you should not be struggling with leads, you know?
Mm.
So that means, are these connections the right connections? Yeah, they are right connections because they are people, from my school, from my college, my relatives, my, colleagues from the companies that I worked with. So, they are connections who know me. Come on, you need to make those people know you who don't know you, you know, because they are the ones who are going to give you business. Family, friends, they didn't have to wait for LinkedIn to come to give you business, right?
Yeah.
They would have given you business anyways, right? So why did they wait for LinkedIn to come and then they will network with you on LinkedIn and only then they will give you business? So let's think beyond that. You need to reach out to people who don't know you, on social media platforms, especially intelligent media platforms like LinkedIn. Reach out to those people who don't know you and the people who think they can leverage your product, your services for their benefit. So your content also has to be driven in that way. That's why me as a marketer, if somebody says मेरे posts पे बहुत like आ रहे हैं, तो फिर आपका revenue क्यों नहीं बढ़ रहा?
Hmm.
That is my question. And the companies जिनके revenue बढ़ रहे हैं ना, they are never mapping how many likes they are getting on a
Yeah.
post. Because
Yeah, I think like the vanity metrics, especially let's you say in a B2B setup, for example, it has no impact only if you say today. I mean,
yeah,
you can just have those lights and there you don't get any leads from them.
exactly.
Awesome. Manjula, we'll look at an aspect when obviously let's say we've set up a business and a lot of businesses they fail to take off because that initially expected a certain amount of customers coming in and adopting their product or service, but it doesn't happen. Do you think like in terms of marketing they didn't market initially really well? That is a big impact because many see we know the market reality. They say like maybe 1 in 10 company will kind of even survive in the next like say first 3 years. So um you think like marketing is the major reason like the thing not even taking off?
I think yes, marketing is one of the biggest reason why companies are failing. Firstly, when companies are set up, when they have started their operations, today is the new generation of organizations that I see, and I'm speaking it from my experience of being a startup mentor. Um, I have noticed that because there's so much we are seeing about companies growing with external fundings that are coming to them, whether it's venture funding or angel funding or seed funding, somewhere I see the new age entrepreneurs are building businesses only so that they have something so that they can make big money, you know, so that there can be some big investor who will invest in them. They would have identified the problem, but they wouldn't have validated the problem, whether it will really, whether the society, whether the community that we are living in is really looking at a problem being sorted, that kind of problem being sorted. They say a problem identify हो गया है and I think there's a need, तो हमको ये build करना है. They build it and then next time you start seeing them pitching it into a lot of hackathons and a lot of events that happen in front of funders. They are pitching their events, they are pitching their business ideas to them, their early stage startups to them. And then they realize that nobody's interested in funding them because a person who's going to fund them is going to really validate your organization. He's going to put in his money. He's not going to blindly give you the money. He's going to see whether your idea is really that impactful that his money can fold by 4 times, right? At least that kind of return he will look at. A lot of people blindly go, they say, oh, he's a venture capitalist and he's my uncle's friend. So he's asked me to pitch my idea to him. So, I'm pitching. And the confidence this guy has कि बस मेरा idea तो वो ले ही लेगा because वो मेरे uncle का दोस्त है. तो वो मुझे पैसे दे ही देगा, funding मुझे दे ही देगा. A lot of early stage startups have failed because of this mindset. Okay. Because you built a business only to get big money into your organization and then think how we will use that money in creating more impactful product for ourselves. You have to go the traditional way. You have to do business the way our fathers and grandfathers did business. They never had the privilege of funders standing on their doors. Even the bank loans used to be very difficult for them to get. Most of them, like my dad, after army, when he started his business by mortgaging my mom's jewelry, okay, to start his shop. That is the kind of risk people need to take when they are into businesses. Today, the environment, the thing that we see around us makes it very easy for people to understand that, oh, it's very easy, let's do it. It's really not easy. We are still doing business. Consumer is still that traditional consumer who's sitting out there. He's still not become the new age consumer. He's still going to bargain with us. He's still going to see that every penny that he spends brings impact, good ROI to him. ROI terminology has not changed from traditional marketing, traditional way of doing business to today's doing business, right? Then why are we in so much of hurry? We are not even maturing our product. We are not wanting to make our hands dirty. We want to get a funder's money in. Then we want to put a team and then we will tell the team, now you make your hands dirty because idea to mera hai. वो bulb मेरे सर पे है. So idea मेरा है. But अब तू हाथ गंदे कर because अब मेरे पास फंडर है और मैं तेरे को पैसे दे सकता हूँ हाथ गंदे करने के लिए. That approach is the wrong approach. I think for few years, like say, the first 4 years or first 5 years, create a short-term goal for your organization when you're building. Try to do it with your own money. Okay. Try to do it with whatever resources you could collect with your own effort. If your company runs moderately and you are breaking even in those 5 years, that is the time you actually position yourself well to now go into the market to ask for more bigger funding, because even the funder will be more confident in you because he will look at your 5 years record of how you have operated right from first year. Even if you're showing that first year हम लोग negative में जा रहे थे और फिर मुझे कहीं से छोटा मोटा loan लेना पड़ा, even that is fine. That builds more confidence in the funder's mindset that कल को अगर कोई problem आए तो ये बंदा डरेगा नहीं, ये बंदा फिर भी करता रहेगा, तो मेरे पैसे डूबेंगे नहीं, right? तो वो
He's like passion, like that in terms of you get an idea of his passion and how much he's invested in the business, not giving up so easily.
Yeah. So I think if I would just sum it with one line, businesses need to be done strategically, but also emotionally, that you need to be emotionally connected to the business. If you're not doing your business emotionally and you're only doing it for the reason of making money because people are starting up a lot of companies, getting big funders coming in, and then, suddenly they are buying big cars and big homes and they are, launching big books that they write about how to be a disruptor, how to change the whole world. That is not reality. Okay, that is really not reality. You have to have a business that you're emotionally connected with, because जब आप emotional होगे तो आप बहुत मेहनत करोगे उस पे, है ना? हम अपने परिवार के लिए इमोशनल होते हैं तो हम अपने परिवार के लिए बहुत मेहनत करते हैं, राइट? बट अगर हमें कोई और बोलेगा कि ये लो, तुम्हें हम बाहर से दूसरा परिवार दे रहे हैं और तुम अब इस परिवार को चलाओ, तो हो सकता है हम इमोशनल ना रहें इतना, राइट? Isn't it? So it's the same thing.
That's right. Manjula, we'll look at if you can look at maybe not if naming any of your client or some kind of an example where their approach even at the product development stage, and or they had to reinvent product or service, and how they, in terms of that understanding and the marketing research they did, that helped them in that whole process.
Yeah, I've had a few clients, and one of them I was very closely connected with. So we started building a great product. And, halfway there, and we are continuously doing the research, but halfway, we realized that already there's a global product which is much, much more better than us. Uh, you know, Suddenly a press release hit us and we realized that there is something that is already getting launched somewhere in the world and they're going global, and obviously our product will become redundant. So that is where we took a different path. We started working on uh, now learning that product, picking up what best practices that product can give. It's okay, आप कर सकते हो वो. Pick up best practices. I mean, in our life, we also look at experienced people, right? That means we are also picking up best practices from experienced people. Some of us are picking up best practices of our parents also, right? So it's no harm. Pick up best practices of any other product and then see what are the gaps that product is still having, and start innovating more around those gaps and start building your product again with more maturity by picking up best practices. So that means when you pick the best practices from that product, means you saved up a lot of time in redoing everything right from ground, right? So you did that and then you identified the gap and then you started building your product. Today, this company has built a product. When they first thought of the product, it was at this level. Today, after the competitor came in much before them, they launched themselves and they were here. Today, their product has reached here, you know. एंड ऐसा ही चलेगा, मार्केट ऐसा ही चलता है, कंपटीशन ऐसे ही होता है. आप इधर हो, दूसरा इधर आएगा, फिर आप आगे बढ़ोगे, फिर आगे, फिर आगे, फिर आगे. आई मीन टुडे वी डोंट यूज द बल्ब दैट एडिसन गेव अस, राइट? टुडे वी आर यूजिंग एलईडीज एंड पता नहीं क्या क्या आगे हम क्या क्या यूज करेंगे. दैट मीन्स बल्ब के साथ क्या हुआ, एडिसन का बल्ब इवॉल्व हुआ, फिर वो इवॉल्व हुआ, फिर वो इवॉल्व हुआ, वो हुआ, वो हुआ, वो हुआ. ऐसे ही तो जनरेशन्स में इनोवेशन चलता गया एंड हमारे घर में फिर भी लाइट रही, राइट? द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ दैट इज दैट. So we have to look at innovation also that way. And secondly, when we are building a product now, you don't just build a product and then launch it in the market and then think कि अब बस product बना दिया अब इसको बेचो. नहीं, you really need to keep evolving that product because your next competitor is also going to pick up best practices from your product and then build something better with the gaps that your product has. So you also have to keep evolving in your product. You can't just make a product, launch it in the market and just sit, There has to be a continuous R&D that has to keep going on in your product.
That's it. Manjula, if you could, for the founders, some kind of best practices or like a blueprint, like the first 2 years, how should they go about it in terms of the go-to market strategy, just to get an idea of how to approach it in a structured way?
I think the first 2 years for any startup company who has built a product or even services, the most important thing is the customer discovery. I have noticed that even for 4-5 years, people are running businesses and they still haven't really identified where their customers are. So they are all over the place. They are selling everywhere because today digital marketing makes it easy for you to go global. So आप हर जगह बेच सकते हो अपने आप को, बट आप अपने उस टारगेट ऑडियंस को ही आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर पा रहे हो. You're not able to identify where you need to discover your customers. Which are those avenues, where are your customers sitting? That itself is lacking. So I think in the first 2 years, if you can start fixing that as a priority, that okay, if my product is for education, then what within the education and who within the education system can be my point of contact, right? You have to go very deep into it. Which city, which region, where, not every region may have the same problem. There would be some region who may not need your product, but there would be some regions who may need your product, right? So आपको बहुत ज्यादा deep research करना पड़ेगा to build your first customer discovery का कैलेंडर, कि मुझे कहाँ कहाँ मेरे कस्टमर्स मिलेंगे, और फिर सबको एक साथ नहीं अटैक करना पड़ेगा आपको सबको उनके हिसाब से उनके कोलैटरल्स बना के उनको अप्रोच करना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज एवरी कस्टमर पॉकेट्स दैट विल कम आउट will be very different for you. Let me give you an example. You have orthopedicians, right? Like, let's look at doctors are also in some way entrepreneurs, right? Because they have their clinics and they have to run their clinics, and sometimes they're not so skilled in doing marketing, है ना? So
Yeah.
now they will hire somebody for marketing. तो marketing वाले क्या करते हैं, ओके आपका सोशल मीडिया रील्स बनाएंगे, छोटे छोटे उनके इनपुट्स लेंगे, डालेंगे, ओके बोन हेल्थ कैसे करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, ओके ठीक है, वो सब अच्छा चल रहा है, एवरीबडी टुडे इज पर्सनली इन्वॉल्व इन देयर बॉडी, इन देयर हेल्थ, तो कहीं ना कहीं आपको कुछ ना कुछ इम्पैक्ट मिलता है. बट टेल मी, अ सिटी लाइक पुणे, जहाँ पे अभी अभी पुणे ग्रैंड टूर हुआ है साइकिलिंग का, इंटरनेशनल साइकिलिंग टूर हुआ था. Apart from that, Pune is very high on marathon. Bombay is very high on marathons, right? And marathons have a season, है ना? मतलब हर साल, पूरे साल तो नहीं होता ना, उनके कुछ सीजनल होते हैं कि ये सीजन्स में मैराथन होंगे. अब वो सीजन से पहले अगर कोई ऑर्थोपेडिशियन शुरू कर दे कैंपेनिंग कि हाउ टू गेयर अप फॉर द मैराथन सीजन, बिकॉज सडनली यू आर IT प्रोफेशनल, तुम 24 घंटे तो तुम्हारे लैपटॉप पे बैठे रहते हो, मतलब 18 घंटे बैठे ही रहते हो, और फिर बाद में तुम सडनली डिसाइड करोगे अरे मैराथन हो रहा है पुणे में, चलो मैं भी भागता हूँ, मैं भी यंग हूँ, जवान हूँ. बाद में यू लैंड अप हैविंग सम लिगामेंट टेयर्स, you land up hurting your bones, you land up with some problem that may become a bigger problem for your health tomorrow, so that आपने अपनी बॉडी को रेडी नहीं किया मैराथन के लिए, बट आपके दोस्त सब भाग रहे थे तो आपने सोचा मुझे भी भागना है ना, क्योंकि मैं जवान हूं, मैं भी भाग सकता हूँ, स्कूल में फुटबॉल खेला है मैंने, उसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात है ना? तो नाउ अगर एक ऑर्थोपेडिशियन बिफोर द मैराथन सीजन एक मैराथन गेयरिंग अप फॉर मैराथन करके एक कैंपेन शुरू कर देता है, और वो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट जिम्स के साथ टाई अप करता है, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पॉकेट्स, अपना कस्टमर डिस्कवरी आइडेंटिफाई करता है कि मेरे कल को अगर मेरे को ऑर्थोपेडिशियन के पास जो क्लाइंट्स आएंगे वो किस किस एरिया से आएंगे, उनको आइडेंटिफाई करता है, और वहां पे अपने अपने जिम्स के साथ टाई अप करता है और बोलता है कि चलो मैं एक कैंपेन रन करता हूँ जहाँ पे हम लोग ये बोलेंगे कि अभी मैराथन होने वाला है पुणे में, तो आप लोग एक महीना पहले अपनी बॉडी को कैसे रेडी कर सकते हो, सो दैट यू डोंट हैव इंजुरीज, you can avoid injuries, you can avoid different pains in your, and you can effectively run. So don't you think that's a more intelligent way of reaching out? Because when you reach out with something good to the community, something good to the society, कल को ये लोगों में से किसी को भी कभी कोई बोन या उनके loved ones को कभी कोई ऑर्थोपेडिक प्रॉब्लम होगा, वो इसी ऑर्थोपेडिशियन के पास आएगा, बिकॉज वो इसमें बिलीव करेगा कि ये सब्जेक्ट मैटर एक्सपर्ट है, इसने तो मेरी हड्डी टूटने से पहले मुझे बता दिया था कि तुम्हारी हड्डी टूट सकती है. Isn't it? So that is how emotionally you need to sell your business. That is how emotionally you need to connect with your customers. And I think that is the biggest thing that first 2 years you need to do to identifying. It's not कि 2 साल बाद आप ये आइडेंटिफिकेशन नहीं करोगे, बट ये 2 साल में जो आप ये प्रोसेस बना चुके होंगे ना अपने कस्टमर डिस्कवरी का, वो आप बस रेप्लिकेट करते रहोगे तो आपकी गाड़ी बहुत अच्छे से चलती रहेगी.
That's it. Definitely, in this, we use the marketing like we segment. So this is a very awesome example where you're using market segmentation as well as something topical, like something which is happening an event at that time, and one particular segment will be involved in it, and where does your product and service fit in, and then you're designing that whole. I think the different touch points you had mentioned, like the gyms, and also that would be there. Yeah, that is definitely, Manju, like that is not even possible at a say, like when as a business person you have to either it's outsourcing or you have someone as even a co-founder who is getting into details of your marketing. It's not possible. This, I mean, it will not even come, because you'll I think that's what happens with the founders. They are too much into the operations, I mean, and handling the day to day, they say firefighting, that then these kind of ideas won't even be like even reaching them, because they're not investing that amount of time. What do you feel in that aspect?
I feel in that aspect, there are a whole lot of marketers available in the market. There is Manjula Subhash available for giving you go to market strategy. you know, my job is that, right? I mean, I sit with founders, I build like annual go to market strategy with them. I create skills within marketing for them, which is important. For some clients, PR may be important. For some clients, PR may not be important. For some clients, digital marketing may be important. For some clients, actual sales enablement is very important, but they may not want to do a lot of social media, or even if they do a lot of social media, it may not bring them that much lead generation as much as a sales enablement activity may bring them. You may want to be more with knowledge partners, like the Gartners, the Foresters, the Frost and Sullivan, the KPMGs, Deloitte kind of knowledge partners. We may want to come out with really intelligent, high level case study white paper with them, or a success story white paper with them, because that is going to bring us our segment of customers, because our customers are not sitting on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, so it all depends upon company to company what they are. So when you bring a marketing strategist in, a growth strategist in, that person is going to build a complete strategy for you for the whole year, and also build a calendar of activities that your marketers need to do, you know in different pockets. And marketing will only be successful when there is consistency in marketing. Whatever you're doing, it needs to be consistent. You can't be on your LinkedIn only once a month. You can't be on your Facebook only once a month. There has to be consistency. You can't just do a press release once and then say, oh, that press release got me 100 media hits, so I'm sorted. Nahi, media needs to know you. Media needs to keep seeing you. That's why it's called public relations. You need to build relations with media. It is about relationships that you build with media. Relationships तभी होंगे, आपके घर में भी relationships तभी अच्छे होते हैं जब आप हर फंक्शन में एक दूसरे से मिलते हो, है ना? चाहे वो दिवाली हो, हल्दी कुमकुम हो, मकर संक्रांति हो, सब हो, आप अपने रिलेटिव्स के साथ जब ज्यादा मिलते हो, शादियां हो रही हैं, बर्थडेज हो रहे हैं, ऑल दैट, आप मिंगल करते हो, तो आप you're on top of their mind. you know the same thing with businesses. It's the same thing with your strategy of public relations as well. It's not just one press release that should be there. It should be many stories coming out of your organization, and media should see you constantly in media. Then the media starts building the relationship with you and say that, okay, I would like to do a one-to-one interview with you, or we have a good feature and we would like to have your quote on this particular feature. That's where you will start seeing organic public relations happening for you. बट उससे पहले आपको कंसिस्टेंट रहना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू बी ऑन टॉप ऑफ माइंड. टुडे विथ आवर पॉपुलेशन ग्रोइंग, टुडे विथ स्टार्टअप पॉपुलेशन ग्रोइंग, टुडे even in one space you find so many competitors, right? So you definitely need to be on top of everyone's mind, so that आप कॉम्पिटिटर से आगे बढ़ रहे हो, आगे बढ़ रहे हो, आगे बढ़ रहे हो, बिकॉज वो भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. सो ये ऐसे ऐसे चल रहा है. सो दैट इज व्हाट नीड्स टू बी डन.
That's right. Manjula, so there's a perception basically when you go out there with your services, like as marketing, I mean, consultants would be, you have in agencies, that, marketing, it's like very cost heavy. Like you have to invest a lot within your ads, and even you look at content today, even though you can produce it easily, like the one which is making an impact where there is a decent amount of cost of production, right? Like creating those videos and everything. How do you say, like, when uh, any examples like where you're using intelligence, your marketing intelligence, where it's not this high capital game only, like you've done something like you gave that example of those orthopedics, so how they use it, like some other also example where it was not cost away, it's something where an experienced marketer is just showcasing, an opportunity that is there, that is with his experience and his research, and that is actually yielded a great ROI.
So let's break this down, okay? Because I hear this in a lot of campuses also with the students, the next generation of working class that I teach in some of the colleges here in Pune. ये क्वेश्चन आता है कि मैम आई वांट टू टेक ऑन मार्केटिंग एंड सेल्स एज अ करियर ऑप्शन. सो आई टेल देम पहले आप क्लियर हो जाओ कि आपको मार्केटिंग एज अ करियर ऑप्शन चाहिए या सेल्स एज अ करियर ऑप्शन चाहिए. So let me break this down into a very simple way to tell you. The job of a sales guy in a company is to bring money into the company, isn't it? उसका जॉब है तुम जाओ बेचो और पैसा आना जरूरी है कंपनी में, बिकॉज हमारी कंपनी needs to make money, तभी तो हम entrepreneur है. If we are not making money, then we are not an entrepreneur, right? तो सेल्स का काम है कि तुम पैसे लेकर आओ, मतलब बिजनेस बेचो, पैसा आना जरूरी है. मार्केटिंग, लाइक यू सेड, मार्केटिंग कॉस्ट हैवी होता है. मार्केटिंग का एक्चुअली रोल पैसा लाना नहीं है. मार्केटिंग का रोल है पैसा खर्च करना. वो कंपनी का पैसा खर्च करता है, बट वो पैसे ऐसे खर्च करता है कंपनी का कि वो ऐसे इनिशिएटिव्स ड्राइव करेगा जो सेल्स को एनेबल करेगा. वो सेल्स बंदे के लिए पैसा लाना इजियर कर देगा. Okay, so you have to, when you are hiring a sales guy in your organization, when you're in an early stage, you hire your first sales guy. With that, you must also have a marketing budget. Now, this marketing budget may not be, that is where people like us come in play. The strategists actually come in play, where we tell you, okay, today, if our revenue isn't very high, there are smaller cost conscious ways of marketing that you can do. Okay, but do it. Do not do anything, कि नहीं मैंने सेल्स बंदा रखा है, उसको उसका बोनस भी मिल रहा है, वो उसका जॉब है कि वो सेल्स करता रहेगा और धंधा आता रहेगा. वो बहुत ही स्लो प्रोसेस होगा. जैसे ही आप उसको एक से मार्केटिंग सपोर्ट देना शुरू करोगे, कोलैटरल्स, द राइट कोलैटरल्स देना स्टार्ट करोगे, थोड़ी सी विजिबिलिटी पे थोड़ा आप काम करोगे, उसके लिए सेल्स और बेटर हो जाएगा. फिर आपको 1 नहीं, आपको 10 लोग लगाने पड़ेंगे, बिकॉज अभी आपके फनल पे इतने ढेर सारे लीड्स जनरेट हो रहे हैं कॉन्स्टेंटली, राइट? So then you will need more sales people to go and close the lead. That is growth, है ना? You're not going to stick with just one sales guy and I'll be okay. नहीं, we are human beings. हम लोग कभी भी satisfy नहीं होते हैं. हमको आगे आगे बढ़ना है लाइफ में. क्या कभी कोई बिजनेसमैन सोचा है जो सोचता है मैं 1 करोड़ कमाता हूँ महीने का, अभी मुझे और आगे कुछ नहीं करना? ऐसा तो कोई नहीं है. अगर कोई चाहता है 1 करोड़ कमाता हूँ, अगले 2 साल में 10 होना चाहिए, अगले 4 साल में 20 होना चाहिए, isn't it? Everyone thinks that way. So similarly आपका सेल्स फंक्शन भी वैसे ही रहना चाहिए, बट सेल्स फंक्शन तभी वैसे रहेगा जब उसको लीड्स आना शुरू हो जाएंगे. लीड्स आना शुरू होंगे तभी वो लीड्स कन्वर्ट करना स्टार्ट करेगा, बिकॉज कन्वर्शन ऑफ लीड्स ऑल्सो इज अ टाइम प्रोसेस, राइट? लीड आ गया बट लीड को कन्वर्ट करना इज ऑल्सो अ टाइम प्रोसेस. That is why I say that the minute you have started reaching out to the market, your product is ready and you have finished your pilot, which pilot you typically do with somebody, a bunch of 4-5 companies, and now the pilot has become a success and now you want to launch it for the whole market, then you need a proper blend of marketing and communication strategy, and then you need sales. If you're going to only have sales and you're going to focus only on sales because आपके 4 pilots बहुत successful हुए and वो confidence है आप में कि मेरा product successful रहेगा, और आप marketing को focus नहीं करोगे, then it is going to fall. It is definitely going to fall. So a growth strategist's job is to come into a company even at an early stage and start building go to market strategy where marketing and communication का plan create होता है और उधर budgets भी create हो जाते हैं. And in those budgets, then you can also look at what you want to do every month and what you want to do bi-monthly, or what you want to do quarterly, what you want to do half yearly, and what you want to do annually, you know. And then you can look at the numbers, you can start dividing your activities, but at least the activities are happening. Whatever, monthly to bi-monthly to quarterly, एक्टिविटी कैलेंडर रेडी हो रहा है तो आप सम वे और दी अदर ऑडियंस में अपनी विजिबिलिटी दिखा ही रहे हो. सो creating a very effective marketing and communication, I would say 360-degree marketing and communication strategy, and then creating a good plan of action for 1 full year, annual year, ले लो, which needs to be reviewed every 6 months with the management, because we need to look at what worked, what didn't work, why it didn't work, what do we need to improve, and what worked, why we want to do more of that which has worked, you know. So ये सब questions आप लोग, so it should not just be growth strategist job, it should also be the founders sitting together with the growth strategist as a partner, and then creating the whole calendar. And then obviously on the floor you have the whole team of marketeers who are sitting along with sales guys who are supporting with everyday operations activities that are needed to be done, right? So it is very, very important to have marketing budget also put in place, and marketing budget will come when you will have a marketing strategy in place, a marketing strategy which can enable sales, you know, not just a marketing strategy just talking about you as a business owner and just hyping you as a leadership, but also somebody who can do a good 360-degree of leadership and the company and the problem the company is solving for the community. You know, it has a combination of that.
Manjula, in terms of have you, from the entrepreneur's point of view, definitely you have the growth strategist on board, but the execution bit of it, how do you handle when maybe the entrepreneur doesn't want a marketing anyone to hire per se, right? Like in terms of marketing, and he's at a very early stage. Execution, how do you go around it when you are on board with the client?
So so there are multiple models that I have with my clients. Basically, I have made it flexible. I pick the model which is suitable for the client. But my core competency is that I'm a growth strategist. I will help you build your strategy for the whole year, a growth strategy. It's not just subjected to marketing and communication, but it's subjected to the complete growth of the organization. So that means if you say your revenue is 1 CR, you know, which took you about 5 years to come, I will say in the next 2 years, we need to be 10 CR. Okay. So to come to 10 CR, what is the strategy that I will build for you? Which we will run for that 2 years is what I pick as a consultant. I work with leadership. I sit with them. I have my dedicated, time that I'm going to give to them to understand their business and then understand their markets, their, where are we going to discover their customers from and everything. And then we build the whole strategy. Then some of the clients have, because whenever स्मॉल कंपनी भी स्टार्ट होती है तो वो 1-2 डिजिटल मार्केटियर्स को एम्प्लॉय कर ही लेते हैं अपने टीम में, बिकॉज आजकल टुडे यू सी अ लॉट ऑफ डिजिटल मार्केटिंग skilled, even colleges are teaching this subject, right? So you do find youth.
So they are basically, it's not like, I mean, you cannot really work around that. You have to hire at a entry level or whatever.
Yeah.
So they execute, at least you have people
executing that. Kuch, and you tell them ki dekho, tum dekho what the competitor is doing, you also do that. So it becomes easier for me when there is also a team within the company. So when we build a strategy, I then train the team, define their roles and responsibilities, share. So strategy is built with a calendar of activity that will happen for the whole year. Now, zaruri nahi hai ki these activities may not change. Something new may happen within the company. There may be some changes that may happen, but broadly we work with a plan. Okay. So we are okay with SOS, but we also have a calendar that we put in place. And then we train the staff that they have in house and we tell them to execute. Sometimes some clients don't have anyone in house and they want, they're open to hiring another agency to do that. Then we, as outsourced CMO who have built the strategy, we identify a partner for them, partner in their city, who can do the execution and who can constantly be in touch with the client, who can also visit the office if the client is comfortable to have them come for face-to-face meetings. We identify those vendors and then we again educate them on the whole strategy part of it, with customer also being part of that. And then we define the roles and responsibilities and then we create a statement of work for them. And based on that statement of work, they raise invoice, which is mutually decided between the client and them as vendors. And, the execution part of it starts. The third is where the client says, we are hiring you. We want you only to do the execution. So then I'm engaging with that client for more than just building the strategy. I'm also executing the work for them. And they are paying a reasonably manageable retainer to me, where the team
That you also can pay your resources which we will engage.
salaries to people.
Yes.
So जैसे वो traditionally advertising agencies में होता था, I think even before IT came into existence ना, advertising agencies were the first outsourcing of marketing for a lot of brands, right? So उस समय जिस वे से invoicing होती थी, I think even legal industry also uses the same pattern of invoicing, the time investment, the level of the the staff that is going to be there. फिर उनके figures are decided and then it's calculated to how much time that particular team, what are the team skills and how much time these teams are going to be taking on delivering your project. And this is the kind of retainer we expect from you. So there are these three ways I engage, and everything is working very effectively. I keep it very flexible. If the client has their own team, I'm okay to, it's for me, I just have to manage a team, right? Whether it's your team, whether it's my team, whether it's another vendor that you bring into the organization. The bottom line is the strategy that we worked on, we worked together, There's another thing, very interesting thing that I notice when I meet new clients, I ask them, because everyone somewhere or the other would have engaged with some agency and they would have done some kind of marketing, something they would have started. And when they come to me and then I ask them, what went wrong with them? Why are you planning to engage with me? What's wrong with your existing agency or the prior agency? They say that, our agency became a little difficult for us to manage because every time they were coming to us and saying, ab hum kya kare aage? Okay. So that is a very big gap. If you're a marketer and you hear something like this, it's a really big gap. As a marketer, you need to go and tell the client कि अब आपको आगे क्या करना है. You don't have to wait for them to tell you कि आगे क्या करें. And I think ये बहुत बड़ा pain I'm seeing with a lot of startups facing this when they even engage with agencies. So that means there are skills of strategists that are missing within the agencies, A strategist can actually walk up to the client and say that, we need to do this, or we need to be part of this event, or we need to 100% do this to bring an impact. And, this is how we plan to do it. I think that is lacking when it's just an agency with no strategist and just implementation is happening. Because when implementation is happening, they are bound to go back to the client every 2 days saying that, tell us what next to do. So the clients are kind of burning down because the founders, co-founders are so busy running their technology and the process and the business and everything. They're saying we are not able to put our time in place to actually now sit with our existing agency to tell them what should they do. We want something that can run constantly, consistently, and we are not bothered a lot by that, the operations need to be smoothly run rather than every time we looking into it and every time we doing it. I do have, I wouldn't say no, I do have a lot of clients who want their involvement, and sometimes they say that, we until and unless we don't approve, you don't take anything out in the media, and the approval takes a long time to come, and then there's a slowdown that happens. So I have my smart communications that I put in place, and I give them a deadline, and I say that, see, this is done. This is the objective, why it is done. This is what we are going to get. This is the ROI that we are going to get. If your approval doesn't come by this date, I'm going ahead with it. So I make it very, very clear to them. I think as marketers, that authoritative approach hona bahut zaruri hai, because every client is also looking at you. They're depending on you. They want to depend on you. And wo depend hona matlab you need to have that authority, you need to tell them that, yes, if I spent so much time in understanding and building the strategy for your business, that means I understand your business. Now you hold a confidence in me that whatever I'm executing is for the good of it. So that authority needs to come. I see a lot of time gets wasted when there is no confidence coming from the marketeers. So even if it's an agency doing digital marketing and they're still waiting ki ab hum organic posts mein kya dale and all that, rather than waiting to get their inputs, if you can start working and start planning ki ab next 2 months mein hum kya dalenge, and share it ahead of time with them, that 2 months you're sorted, your operations are on, right? So you are doing it. But ensure that they are all being validated by the client. The client is part of it. It should not be a surprise for him that, the authority should not be over done also. Because by the end of the day, the client is paying you the retainer. So that's a big gap that I see, that, the startups typically say that we don't know what to tell our agency every 2 days or every week, what to put. So that's where you lack a strategy and a plan for the next one full year.
Amazing episode with you. We got so much like a deep understanding, regarding marketing as, startup founders. Like, obviously, when we look at, in the content I create, it's more targeted, with respect to marketers. So where do you feel like now in this AI age, we should train ourselves? Because there are a lot of things now AI can do which a marketer was doing earlier. Like, for example, and we've used it also in ChatGPT. You upload a whole report and then you can get insights also today in that, and there are various things where, suggestions, even the platforms are getting smarter. When you have, say, Google Ads, it will suggest certain optimizations. And also, where do you feel the marketer should invest their time in terms of then you gaining those skills which are not like replaceable immediately by AI?
Yeah. I think, first of all, for the next generation, every youth should study marketing, a 360-degree marketing, whether they do it as a extra course or whether it's part of their academics. They must definitely learn about marketing, and it should not be high level. It should be a deep dive marketing that they need to learn. They need to really learn the difference between marketing, communication, public relations, sales enablement, and sales as an organization. Because tomorrow, wherever you go, whether you're working for a company or whether you're going to start your own company, your intrapreneur skills, if you're working for a company, and your entrepreneur skills, if you're starting your own business, is again also dependent upon how much you understand about the market. And the understanding about the market will come when you will be able to understand marketing well. So, and also, like I said, marketing is the backbone for any business. Let's look at corporates. Corporates mein recruitment hota hai ek division, which falls under HR, but they also do marketing, na? they also go into colleges, they are creating curiosity with students, and they are also marketing themselves, right? How to market your
Now it's,
organization.
I think Manila, it's called like a formal term is called like employer branding.
Yeah, employer branding. No, employer branding is more around great place of work initiative, like being
Yeah.
a great place of work. So you are branding your organization to be a great place for employees to join and work.
Right.
But recruitment marketing is where you're marketing yourself to different places, where you're asking prospect hire, so that you can actually attract the right talent for your company, right? So वो भी है. तो वो तो बियॉन्ड आपके सेल्स और मार्केटिंग के बियॉन्ड ही चला गया, isn't it? So
Yeah.
if you see, marketing is going to be the backbone for every business, and no doubt marketing is going to become even easier with the AI coming in, which can suggest you. Uh, I mean, you just have to prompt and you will get a PPT ready. I mean, those days are gone when we used to actually sit and I remember in O&M we used to take like 4 or 5 days to create a PPT for a customer pitch, right? And we would have brainstorming sessions with each other, and हम हर एक स्लाइड को बहुत ही केयरफुली पूरा ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करके बनाते थे. टुडे वी डोंट नीड टू डू दैट. टुडे ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग सब एआई कर देता है, राइट? सो it's how smartly can you use AI, and how smartly can you create your collaterals through AI. That skill also needs to come to you. Like I said, AI is also going to be powered by real intelligence. If you are not going to have real intelligence, if you're not going to use smart prompts, for what exactly do you need AI to create? You need to have that understanding कि आपको क्या exactly चाहिए. That understanding needs to be very important, and to some extent I feel that understanding also comes from common sense. And I have noticed that people do not use their common sense that much today, especially in the next generation, because you are so dependent on someone else doing it for you, Alexa doing it for you, AI doing it for you. I've heard, I was at a saloon, and a 12, 13-year-old kid came and he wanted to get his haircut done. So the guy asked him कि तुम कैसा काटूं बाल तुम्हारा? So he said, 1 minute, AI पे जाके लिखता है what kind of hairstyle will suit my face. You know,
And then generate some image and all that. Yeah.
and then he's showing it to that guy and saying मुझे ये haircut कर दो. मतलब अब हम
That's the thing. It's like you are the skill of even communicating like what you want. Even that is being compromised if you overuse this chat.
Exactly. मतलब यार, come on, let's be emotional also na. We are human beings. We
Yeah.
can't become machines. Don't become a machine. Don't become a robot. You can use robots to make some process easy for you. But do not you yourself become. That means आपके पास इतना भी common sense नहीं है कि आपको बाल कैसे कटवाने हैं. ये तो common sense की बात है ना यार. Isn't it? तो मतलब sometimes the next generation really surprises me, but at the same time I feel this is their era, and they are going through the disruption वाला स्टेज जहाँ पे कुछ चेंज हो रहा है. सो वो चेंजेस में आपको बहुत सारी चीजें उथल पुथल चीजें दिखेंगी ही. वो जब चेंज हो रहा होता है, बहुत कुछ चेंज हो रहा होता है, राइट?
In terms of the skills, so like me as a marketer, what specific I should have a training protocol, because there are so many things AI is like doing in an automated mode, and what do I then bring to the table in terms of my company?
Okay. So the biggest skill that the next generation should look at to learn, even in the environment of AI, is to become a strategist. Because when you become a strategist, you are combining emotional and practicality together. Practicality may, to some extent, come from AI, but AI needs to be powered by real intelligence, which will come from your emotional understanding of that particular business. And marketing is something that every function within an organization will need as we move forward. Because how to use AI smartly for any function that you are in, a marketing mindset will only help you do that. So, marketing is the game changer. And we are the ones who introduced AI. I feel very proud about it. And we are the ones who told people many years back, start blogging, start talking creatively about your business and all that. You know, there was so much of digital data that we created for every business that today the next generation feels ये AI गॉड कहाँ से आ गया हमें हेल्प करने के लिए, ये सब हमने क्रिएट किया हुआ है.
Well, it's also interesting, like when when Google also was just coming up,
Yeah.
the thing was that everybody was then searching things on Google. So I had a interesting conversation with one company I was working in at that time. There's like some that company, a lot of founders, they don't even think of that, like putting out content about educating. That was never the thing about the customer. Like
Yeah.
they wanted to, like, because it is end of the day, like, what do you get directly? Like it's like a short term game, either that or you don't want to invest so much, you're not seeing a immediate return. But they it just changed the thinking of all the business, because it's like the more you put content about your business and you're educating, the more it's like in terms of the higher probability of you actually getting the sale. So
Yeah.
we all started kind of adopting that in that, and that is given, like, I mean, over the years, that's how all that content is gone, right? And this is now being used by AI, because you want to be in that whole stage of where the customer is trying to discover, basically is trying to solve a particular, your content is coming, and then where the product basically fits in. That's a whole cycle of marketing.
And I actually come from traditional marketing, and I have seen, the Google era starting the beginning. I'll tell you how the world was that time. There were very few companies that would have websites. It was like you need to be that big to have a website, you know. Uh, so as the search engine started, and before Google, there was Yahoo, there were many other search engines which were there before that. When the search engines got started, that's where actually it kind of opened up to the world, saying that, nahi, you don't have to really be big. You have to have a registered business to start a website.
Some digital presence basically.
Some digital presence you can have. उस समय तो वेबसाइट ही होता था डिजिटल प्रेजेंस. सोशल मीडिया के मच लेटर. तो पहले तो अगर मेरे को बिजनेस को वेब मतलब इंटरनेट पे लाना है तो वो वेबसाइट ही होता था पहले, राइट? तो उस समय भी वेबसाइट्स हैड they used to give you certain space, and they used to say that static website ही रहेगा, मतलब तब static ही होता था, एंड उसमें बस 2-3 पेजेस ही होते थे. और वो जैसे आप अपना प्रोफाइल बनाते हो ना, कंपनी प्रोफाइल ऑन वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट, आप वो वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट को उठा के आप उधर डाल सकते थे. दैट वाज योर वेबसाइट, है ना? एंड इफ यू वांटेड मोर देन दैट, then you had to pay more money, because then more space is getting utilized, so you can't have more pages. वो एकदम वेबसाइट ब्लैंक हो जाता था. It used to just not, the URL would just not open because आपकी साइट हेवी हो गई है. Have you heard? You remember that?
That's right.
कि आपकी साइट हेवी है इसलिए लोड नहीं हो रही है.
Yeah.
So I have seen that era where only few privileged businesses could have website, एंड वो भी बहुत ही लिमिटेड वेबसाइट होती थी, क्योंकि वो फिर हेवी हो जाएगी तो लोड नहीं होगी. बहुत सारे इमेजेस हैं, सारे ऐसे ऐसे बोला जाता था, बहुत सारे इमेजेस आपने डाल दिए हैं तो वो वेबसाइट लोड ही नहीं हो रही है, एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. सो द वेबसाइट, द Google, the search engine also started evolving a lot, right? So now you can move from, the environment moved from static website to dynamic websites. फिर डायनामिक वेबसाइट मतलब यू कैन कीप चर्निंग, यू कैन कीप चेंजिंग द कंटेंट, एंड थोड़ा और स्पेस आपको मिल जाता है. नाउ यू कैन हैव योर वीडियोस, यू कैन हैव, तब यूट्यूब भी नहीं था, तो वीडियोस हम लोग एक्चुअली अगर शूट किया जाता था प्रॉपर विथ बाय स्पेंडिंग लैक्स ऑफ मनी ऑन अ कॉर्पोरेट वॉक थ्रूज, एंड देन वो वीडियोस को अपलोड किया जाता था, उनके रेसोल्यूशंस को कम किया जाता था ताकि वो वेबसाइट पे प्ले हो जाए इजीली. बहुत कुछ होता था. उसके बाद धीरे धीरे आगे बढ़ते गए हम. फिर आया कीवर्ड्स. आपके ना हर पेज पे कुछ सेट ऑफ कीवर्ड्स होना बहुत जरूरी है. तो कीवर्ड्स जब होंगे तो गूगल रैंकिंग पे या सर्च इंजन रैंकिंग पे आपकी वेबसाइट ऊपर दिखेगी. तो कीवर्ड्स भी लोग क्या करते थे ना उस समय, द डेवलपर्स, दे वुड हैव लाइक there's a website with some content about the company written, और फिर नीचे एक blank white होता था, blank होता था, और फिर नीचे तुम्हारा footer होता था. तो वो ब्लैंक व्हाइट क्या होता था, उसमें एक्चुअली वो लोग सारे कीवर्ड्स डाल देते थे और उसको व्हाइट कर देते थे टेक्स्ट को, मतलब वो ब्लैक नहीं दिख रहा है, टेक्स्ट व्हाइट दिख रहा है. तो फॉर अ व्यूअर ही इज नॉट एबल टू सी द कीवर्ड्स, बट द एल्गोरिदम इन द बैक एंड कैन आइडेंटिफाई द कीवर्ड्स बिकॉज दे आर टेक्स्ट रिटन बट दे आर मेड इनटू व्हाइट. तो आपके व्हाइट बैकग्राउंड पे वो व्हाइट टेक्स्ट दिख ही नहीं रहा, यू नो. तो मैंने तो वो सब एरा भी देखा है यार, कि हमने क्या क्या नहीं किया वेबसाइट्स को रैंकिंग में लाने के लिए, और फिर जाके एक प्रॉपर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड, यू नो, वो इंडस्ट्री ही ऑर्गेनाइज हो गई विद गूगल कमिंग इन एंड देन creating more and more. And even today you see something new Google keeps introducing for you to keep pumping your the ranking up. You know, like I said in the beginning of our session, that even blogging, but the blog terminology was never there, right? Blogger karke Google had only introduced that, right? Because a lot of businesses kept going and saying that I cannot keep changing a lot of keywords in my business. My about us is going to remain the same, my services page is going to remain the same. So how can I look different from my competitors so that I can get better ranking than them? So I can't keep churning the content in my website. That's where Google said, okay, now you start talking about your business in a creative way through stories. तो एक ब्लॉग सेक्शन आ गया, फिर धीरे धीरे मीडिया सेक्शन आ गया. नाउ यू कैन इवन अपलोड योर प्रेस रिलीजेस, योर मीडिया. तो पीपल स्टार्टेड नाउ लिवरेजिंग डिजिटल पीआर एज वेल, सो दैट उनका वो वाला पेज में भी ऑप्टिमाइजेशन होता रहे, बिकॉज you are now putting a link of Times of India or Economic Times or Business Today or India Today on your website. तो backlink हो रहा है, तो now optimization of your website is happening well. फिर धीरे धीरे ऐसे करके बहुत सारे फीचर्स आने लगे. टेस्टिमोनियल्स कलेक्ट करो, क्लाइंट के टेस्टिमोनियल्स डालो, सक्सेस स्टोरीज क्रिएट करो, डेलॉयट के साथ पार्टनरशिप करके सक्सेस स्टोरी बनाओ और उसको भी डाल दो, व्हाइट पेपर्स अपलोड कर दो. तो नाउ वेबसाइट हैज नाउ बिकम अ होल लाइक अ शोरूम, लाइक आपका शोरूम बन गया है वो डिजिटली. इमेजिन दैट टाइम ऑफ दो स्टैटिक वेबसाइट्स जहां पे आपको 2 पेज बना नहीं सकते थे आप, और अगर आपने 1-2 इमेजेस हेवी डाल दिए तो आपकी वेबसाइट लोड नहीं होती थी. From there to where we have come today, you know, you don't even have to have a registered entity to open a website, right? You buy a domain, you open a website. You don't have to be a registered entity anywhere in the world, right? So even that has evolved. And because that evolved, a lot of data, when it started getting pushed into the digital platform, today platforms like ChatGPT, AIs are able to help the next generation by not really putting a lot of creative effort on content, and they can get some help in content creation from there. But still, power it with your emotional intelligence, because that human beings at that point of time, we used a lot of emotional intelligence, we used a lot of real intelligence that time also. So they also don't blindly go for it. When I teach in colleges, I have this activity which I do with students where I tell them to create case study on certain clients that I give to them, certain brands that I give to them. जो सबसे जल्दी लाता है ना, उसकी तो वाट लग जाती है बिकॉज वो चैट जीपीटी से निकाल के लाता है. So then I have to create some parameters in between where I have to tell them that, listen, I need this quote to come from this person and this person is available on LinkedIn. So I need you to write to that person and ask him this question about this organization. So I also have to then become more intelligent in ensuring कि बच्चे सीखें. They just don't depend on AI, you know. Even for us also, it is evolution only.
Yeah, it was very nicely, but obviously, how this whole digital evolution has happened, I would say the last 20 years, especially when, the site within India, the website, social media, and today, which we have AI. So, yeah, every stage is different. I mean, it's like, it's how you adapt. Like, you can't get too fixated on certain things, that things will evolve and you need to keep, updating and this thing. I think that is one phase where, like, when we see the marketers, it has been the most like kind of extreme where things are just changing every month, and we have to keep a lookout for that. Like I was having such an interesting conversation. Like marketer has to just be within that chaos because one person he was saying, no, I was watching too much Instagram. One of the marketer was talking to like, then I wanted to actually take a detox from it, but it's like his profession. One side of it, he has to also look at Instagram, certain channels and all that. So you can like totally get out of it. So that uh, you how you manage yourself also is so important. I mean, as a marketer, because some of these tools also get overbearing and all that.
Yeah.
So I think more kind of trust your instinct and also keep it certain simple. In the simplicity in the chaos also can be a good kind of way to go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Manjula, so much for your time. It was great having you, and we definitely are a great, very passionate marketer, and I think you're a role model for a lot of marketers out there. In terms of in so much work you've done, especially as a corporate professional, also now as an entrepreneur. So, thank you so much for coming here and sharing all your valuable insights.
Thank you so much for having me here. And it was really so nice to capture a lot of things that, from my past experience to what I'm seeing today. It was really nice to have this great conversation with you. It's really like, literally having coffee with Nikhil,
Yeah.
on show.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Manjula. And to the audience, if you want to connect with me and we can collaborate on podcast, you can please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Until the next episode, I'll see you all. Take care.